Today on Trades Talk Podcast Studio, we got Tyler Harrison with JT Tailgates here in Wichita, Kansas. And I'm glad to have you on, man.
Man, Devin, thank you so much for having me.
Definitely.
This is awesome. Having a podcast studio.
Well, I broke your V card on the front podcast studio.
You did. This is my first one.
Awesome.
Watch and listen to them, and it's like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's give it a shot.
Well, with it being trades talk, I mean, you're still in the trades. You deal with the trades.
Right.
You have another business as well that you're in that's heavily involved in the trades.
Yeah, property management.
Yep. So today we're going to talk about JT and what event you have coming up. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. We were absolutely blessed to have our name mentioned in a room that we weren't in.
That's always a good thing.
It is.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes back just to the steadfastness of serving people. We started in 2019 as a competition ribeye team in the State Cook-Off Association.
Dude, making me hungry already. Steak,
yeah. Brisket, grilled chicken, and we have just transformed and grown this brand, this team name, with my first name being Jonathan, my middle name being Tyler, JT Tailgates, hosting tailgate parties, private caterings, meat by the pound purchases, and our name was mentioned in a room that we weren't in, and said, hey, who could do barbecue in Wichita as much as 40, 50, 60,000 people that we're expecting next week for March Madness down by Intrust
Man,
Bank
that's
Arena.
awesome.
And they said, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Tyler. And we had a conversation, drafted the plan, the vision, and partnering with Ace's Wild Barbecue and the Meat Lover trailer out of Kansas City to be here next week.
I got to see that trailer. It's huge. That's awesome. Yeah. It is a cattle trailer that's turned into a cooking studio.
Yeah, it's a 53-foot cattle trailer with 3-4 smokers on it, and we're gonna run some meat.
Oh man. So you're gonna send me some pictures, and I'll put those up so that people can kind of see that as we're talking about it. Now tell me about you mentioned a McPherson cook-off.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
My very first State Cook-Off Association competition was in McPherson in 2019, and the entire competition world is you don't know what you don't know until you learn what you didn't know. And I think I took fairly close to last in this competition, and I've grilled and had smoked meat here and there, but the competition world is
it's probably brutal as can be.
It's hairline scores, and you could go from having a great day to an absolute dog water day, landing dead last. And I don't think I landed dead last, but I was pretty close. I think there was probably 40 teams, and I landed.
So what do they judge that on? Because I mean, I think every man that cooks thinks that they cook the best,
right?
But I have been told that like I have a really, really good steak. I cook steak wonderfully. What parameters are the judges looking at for that? I know that there's stuff of like tenderness and the seasoning and how juicy and the cook temperature and stuff like that. But if there's those hairline variations, what is something that really sets anybody else apart?
So they judge off of taste, texture, tenderness, overall impression, and appearance.
Okay.
And very subjective. 100% blind. You turn your steak in a to-go box, basically, with a silver paper disc in it to give some presentation aspect to it. But you turn your steak in with the spinalis, the ribeye cap, towards the judges, towards the opening of the box, and they judge from there. So 50 points in each category that you can get, and fully subjective. It could, you need to cook on a medium, so they will cut your steak in half horizontally, and they will judge the back half of that cut for the appearance score, and also in the middle of hitting a true medium. So if your doneness score is off, either you overcooked it or you undercooked it. And a lot of it could depend on the lighting of the room that you're in.
Yeah.
And when they cut that, and they have a placard card with the doneness pictures. So you could, let's say you do cook it to 130 and it carries to 135. You could have a nice fat spinalis steak or a tri-heart with the 3 different muscles on it. You could have a number 1 steak being a tri-heart, or a number 10 steak being the 10th cut steak out of the loin. And those are both going to cook differently. They're going to turn in differently. There's a lot of variable pieces that the judges get a bite about the size of your thumbnail.
That's it.
That's all they get.
How many people?
5.
Judges, 5 judges. Yep. But how many people in the competition?
Could range from 20 to 50.
Okay.
To 100. It just depends.
By the time it's all said and done, those 5 people have consumed 2 or 3 steaks.
Oh, yeah.
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 God, I want to be a judge.
It's there's competitions all over the place. This week is the world's competitions down in Texas, Fort Worth area for this year.
So for those 5 lucky individuals, how did they get there? What parameters do I need to meet in order to be one of those guys?
You sign up to be a judge, take the class with the Steak Cook-Off Association. And
no, I'd rather probably compete. I don't know. Now I'm going to have to let you have one of my steaks and be like, tell me your, you know, after going through a competition and knowing everything that you know, feed my ego a little bit. Don't be like, it's all right.
It's mid.
Yeah, it's mid.
That's probably one of the hardest things that I've encountered is we don't eat out a lot anymore. If we do, we're going to other Mexican food or Chinese food.
Right. Going to somewhere I can't cook.
Right. Something that's not an everyday occurrence for me.
So then, well, I have a question. We might start a war with this one. Propane or charcoal or pellet?
It depends on.
For a competition.
Charcoal and wood.
Oh, yeah. All day.
Charcoal and wood. We cook on a PK grill out of Arkansas. Old aluminum cast brand that built in the 40s, I believe.
Oh, wow.
It's an aluminum shell, opens up. I open it from right side to left side with the top on it, and the bottom is where charcoal is with grates, and then we utilize a product called grill grates for the markings. We cook on the grill.
Oh, those
grates.
are those like the slots where, yeah, I know what you're talking about. My Yoder has that.
Yeah.
Where it fits in perfectly,
It
and you can
fits
do the
laser cut specifically for your grill. They help tremendously on marks, on grill marks, but also flame ups when you're cooking such a high fat content protein. We have 0 flare ups based on the way that the grill grates are built and designed. There's holes, air gaps in the rails or in the valleys, and it heats extremely well because they're also aluminum based. and clean fairly easy, but they give us great marks and protections from flame ups.
Sometimes that flame is, that's where some flavor's at.
Tons of flavor.
Yeah.
But the risk in all of that is...
Especially if you get too hot. Propane just, that's horrible. Like, especially when you try to cook burgers on a propane grill.
Yeah, but like our buddy Hank Hill, you got to have some propane available.
And we asked them kindly if they like it well done to leave.
Oh, Bobby, you burnt the burgers.
Oh, what if somebody wants it well done? Piss off.
This next week we're going to be using pellet gas in the Meat Lover trailer. It has 2 to 3 that we're going to load with it, and running pulled pork, turkey legs, chicken skewers, hot dogs, all beef hot dogs, and then we're going to serve chips and queso.
And I get to work this thing. And
yeah.
So what you're saying is do I need to come hungry?
Come with food in your belly.
So no appetite.
When you need to eat, then we can eat.
Okay.
We're partnering with 4 nonprofits to help with the point of sale and the window working and passing out, distributing the food. We're going to be to the south of Intrust Bank Arena, across from Waterman, in what is being labeled as the Arena District, and the party out front. So Soli and Jude's is directly across the front doors on the south side of the arena, at Waterman and Emporium. And there's 2 parking lots, and then the railroad bridge on the other side of St. Francis. Those 2 parking lots are going to have food from us, but Standard Beverage is having their brands and their partners involved. For those that are not drinking, there are sober options available, non-alcoholic options available.
So there'll be alcohol within that area.
Yep.
And okay.
Yep. Our sole focus is food, and water mocktails from the Phoenix are going to be there as well. Sodas, water, all of that.
I just saw something about a mocktail on TikTok.
Oh,
where it was like this, she was on a plane and she's like making the cocktail, and he's like, you can't be drinking that. And she's like, it's non-alcoholic. And he's like, oh, well, carry on.
And then,
is that what the mocktails are?
Yeah, non-alcoholic.
Non-alcoholic. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
like a mock interview.
Okay. Mocktail. Yeah.
A mocktail.
Nice little wordplay.
Yeah. So they should be, looking at the layouts, they should be right to the north of us. All sorts of fun activities. A basketball trailer is going to be in the area as well. Basketball shots or things like that.
What hours are you operating?
We are going to be Wednesday for the practice day. Wednesday, the 19th, and then the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We will be there basically 11 to 11.
Okay.
Those 3 days. Wednesday's kind of going to be our test day. I think the practices start at noon or 1, and we're going to run lunch, afternoon, dinner, and see how the evening goes. Hopefully get out 7, 8 o'clock range and be ready to rock and roll on Thursday morning.
Awesome. So with all that being said, what got you into from competition to the JT Tailgates and where you're at right now? Tell us about Tyler, the individual.
Sure. You know, somebody asked me the other day, they're like, how did you get started? And I said, well, it was probably back in like 5th grade, where I wasn't the most readable, wanting to sit down and read child. Book reports weren't my favorite thing. And had a phenomenal 5th grade teacher, Chris Christian, at Mays East Elementary. And I was able to convince Mr. Christian to do video book reports. Food Network was coming online. Food Network was heavy, and I watched the Food Network all the time. I still watch the Food Network all the time, and was able to convince Mr. Christian to allow me to do video book reports of recipes, of cookbooks. And my mom would film me on our video camera, and I would make the recipe, make food for the class, cookies, desserts, afternoon snacks, appetizers, kind of thing, and would bring samples into class, and it would count as my book report. And
that's awesome. I wish I was in your class. I love food,
I would
man.
plug the camera up to the back of the TV. It's when those big 32 inch,
where they rolled them in.
Well, they were hanging from the ceiling.
Okay.
They were on a swivel, and I would plug the video camera into the back of the TV with the aux port, the red, yellow, white.
Yep.
RCAs. The RCAs, and would show the video, and I'd get my credit. But it stems from cooking with my mom and being in the kitchen as a kid with my mom, with my grandma, 3, 4, 5 years old, and just that instilled cooking for the family, cooking for others. And I think you take cooking for others, competitions are fun. Great time, great people, but they're costly. And there needs to be a factor of enjoyment, weighing these factors: enjoyment, cost, return. Competitions are expensive, and we did very well in 2020, 2021, 2022. Top 3, top 5 in the state of Kansas, placed 100 at Worlds in 2022. And we had more kids. We have 2 kids now, and being away from them every weekend, every other weekend, couple weekends a month, it just depends on the schedule.
Right.
It's hard.
Oh, yeah.
And the more that I competed, the more I met people and saw that this could really be a good business, a side focus, and pairing cooking well for others, but with the focus of serving others at the same time. And growing up in a home that loves others, help your neighbor, serve others is really our focus. And the opportunity.
So faith-based,
absolutely.
always.
The opportunity that we have now is to truly impact our community. We're partnering next week with Hope Fostered, a foster-focused nonprofit where their largest focus is huggage, breaking the social norm of the trash bag luggage that kids receive in a time of turmoil. When they're being moved from home to home, they're given a trash bag typically, and Hope Fostered has created huggage where it's a backpack, and in that backpack is a huggage branded canvas bag for their dirty clothes. There's a stuffy, there's some devotional items, some personal growth items, a Bible, toothpaste, toothbrush, and something that is more than just a trash bag.
Right.
And helps in that transition of what they're going through.
That's got to be difficult. Especially, I've been there, unfortunately. Not that long ago, 8-9 years now.
Okay.
Where what I had left in my name to me was one suitcase, my pool cues, and 4 bags of clothes. That was it. That's all I had. That was all my belongings. About 8 years ago.
Wow.
Not drug related, not alcohol related, relationship related.
Okay.
So went down a long path with the wrong person, the wrong individual, and led me into some dark times. So getting into that situation was not drug or alcohol related. However, drug and alcohol became a part of the problem.
Sure.
As an escape from the reality of what I was, being faced with. But I broke that really quickly just because I don't want to, I couldn't put myself in that situation. And not only that, my mom helped me try to see where I could potentially go. And now we're here.
And look at how you've grown.
Yep. It's been
everything that you're doing.
It's been quite the journey. It's been very difficult, but we're here. So
Worth it.
Very worth it. Yeah. My son reminds me every day how much it's worth it. So I couldn't live life without him. So
absolutely.
It's crazy how you go from where you don't have any children, you don't have any dependents and anybody really counting on you. And you make a lot of changes and you think, one day I'd love to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that life that you had before, even if it was good or great or you had everything in the world, to having a child and thinking about the reality of without them, it is rough to just, in my opinion, I just cannot imagine myself without him. If something was to ever happen to him, my life would be over. It'd be gone.
It's like
So I don't know how others give up on their kids or not deal with their children in some way, shape, or form. It makes no sense to me.
I think in what I see in the property management side of things is
I bet you see some crazy stuff.
There is, but it's people stuff.
Yeah.
And just like Jesus died on the cross for us, no matter what we have going on in our life, time and time again, he's blessed us.
Yes.
He's blessed me. He's forgiven me. And no matter what is there, I always have pulled through it. And in the property management side of things, sometimes people only know one way of living. They've only known the struggles. They've only known the alcoholism, the drugs, poverty,
Abuse,
yeah, physical abuse, sexual abuse. And until they have somebody that comes alongside of them and works with them, lifts them up, brings life to them, true life, they will never be able to get out of this.
No.
This
product of their environment.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if they've known that since the time they were born, and their only way of living is that one path, there's so much more to life. And JT, the business that we've done, the opportunity that we've had, and the opportunities that we've had to impact people's lives through food and nourishment, has been tremendous.
Tell us about the other partnerships with the nonprofits that you have as well.
So Hope fostered with Wheat State Camp or Wheat State Retreat Center out in Augusta off of Santa Fe Lake Road. It's a church camp that I went to from time I was 4 till 18, and then even served as staff a week during the summer for a couple years through college. Also partnering with Freedom Challenge. They are a prison ministry here in Kansas. Through some past interactions that I've had in my life, prison ministry is a big focus, and I've seen it impact others in my life. And it's an opportunity to break that cycle for people, and give the opportunity for these men and women in the Kansas prisons a leg up when they're able to.
Awesome.
And then we're partnering with our church, Life Point Valley Center, and they're going to be helping out as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So we know the times, we know the place, we know who's involved.
How about some pulled pork?
Man, I'm looking
some
forward
turkey legs.
Yes.
Chicken skewers.
What sides? Is there going to be any sides?
We're gonna keep it simple.
Okay. Mac and cheese.
No, we're gonna go Lay's chips.
Okay.
Lay's chips, and then we're also gonna have Tostitos and queso. So corn chips and queso as another side.
Okay. And then you guys are offering drinks too, as well. Maybe just like
there will be all beverages are from the other vendors.
Okay.
Our sole focus is those 5 menu items, and to be able to produce hot, fast orders. We're going to be running about 20 to 30 people a shift, to making sure that the smokers are constantly cooking food, and having food warm and ready to go.
It's going to smell so good down there.
It is. I keep walking through each night after I'm kind of done for the day, and I'm thinking through, okay, what do we need for this aspect? What do we need for this aspect? And 2 of the smokers, one's running pellets, the other one's running propane, and that's going to smell real good.
Yeah. The pellets are what kind are you using? Like applewood, hickory, mesquite?
I think we're probably running some oak and pecan.
Yeah. I haven't tried oak before. I've tried the pecan, apple, cherry, competition blends and stuff like that. The kind of the quote unquote normal stuff, but I would love to try some oak. I bet oak would be really good with a brisket.
Don't tell anybody this now. But this is my first time using pellets. Shh. I purchase my oak and pecan splits from the woodchuck guy. His name's Andy Quant off of Meridian and Industrial in Valley Center. And
so you just
I text him and I say, "Hey Andy, it's JT. I need half a bed of oak and half a truck bed of pecan." He goes, "All right, see you at 1:30. Show up. We load half the bed of oak, half the bed of pecan, come together on a price, takes care of me. So shout out to Andy, the woodchuck guy in Valley Center. He helps me out tremendously.
Awesome. All right.
We run a 15-foot barrels offset smoker.
Custom made.
It was hand built, and I bought it. It does have some propane assist to it. We haven't used it, but we use 18-inch splits, charcoal, and can run about 30 pork butts at a time on it.
Man, I'm hungry now.
It takes some work to move
that much food.
Yeah, we're moving them about every hour, rotating them to make sure that we're getting a good bark. And when you load 3 deep by 10 rows, you're you're going to have spots that are touching.
Yeah.
Or there's not enough passageway for the smoke to roll underneath and through. So we rotate them about every 45 minutes to an hour, spritz them once the rub sets and they start sweating through, then that bark forms and go time.
Yeah. All right. So being that you're the barbecue man and you've got all this experience, what's your favorite barbecue place in town? Please tell me it's not.
Hey. Don't.
Hog Wild.
I really like Pig In, Pig Out.
Yeah.
Bite Me is one of my favorites as well.
Delano's.
Delano's, I haven't had Delano's since I worked for the Wingnuts in that 2015, 2018 range.
I like their sauce.
Okay.
Yeah. The sauce on the ribs. Yeah.
The one that I want to try is Giorgio's. And I think it's more of a parking lot setup.
Where's it at?
I didn't.
You have to look that up. I've never heard of it. You know where my favorite place is? It's not in town. Flat Rock in Texas.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. Now, I also like Heart 8, but Heart 8 is like a cafeteria style. So you have the walk-in area when you get to the restaurant.
Yes.
It's set up long ways. You're walking into the smoke room.
My cousin got married 2 years ago, right after we had our son.
At Heart 8?
Down in the Fort Worth, Carrollton area. And it was my first time going there. Took my brother, and we got food for him and Anna, his wife, and then my wife and daughter. And I mean, I think we got like $70, $80, $90 worth of barbecue. But those pits that you walk past, Wichita needs an open pit market like that.
So the one that I went to is in I forgot what the name was. College Station, maybe.
Okay.
No, it was somewhere. It's just south of Frisco.
Okay.
And is the one that I always went to, was that one right off of 121 Exchange. But they had 4 pits, and then next to the pits were 4 cooking stations for like steaks and sears. And then of course they had like 2 main rotisserie pits that were right in the middle. So you'd walk in right there, and then you'd pick up your meats off of this big, large container that just folded up and just weighed it right there.
Yeah.
Picked it up. Here you go.
Gone.
And then you're in the door. And once you're in the door, you're getting all your sides and the desserts and stuff like that you want. You go to the counter, hand them the tickets. And I can't, my meal is $50 to $60 for lunch, but I'm getting like ribs. I'm getting a ribeye. And then when I get the ribeye though from them, because of where they're cooking it, I'll do rare, just so that I can reheat it up later on and bring it up to a medium temperature if I want. But normally whenever I'm eating, if I'm just going to eat the ribeye or the steak in general, it's always medium rare.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I sometimes rare. Just kind of depends on the cut, but it also depends on where I get it from.
Sure.
I don't like Texas Roadhouse. Okay. In my opinion, their meats are cheap. They're producing a lot. They're getting a lot out. Of course, they're going to be a little bit on the cheaper side. Even the cowboy cut. There's just too much gristle and not enough fat content for the flavor profile. Sure. Of course, they're also not seasoning it to what my liking would be. but I've had to send it back too many times. Overcooked. Like, I asked for medium rare. There's no pink.
Yeah,
I would accept medium just so it's edible and instead of wasting a piece of meat. But, dude, there's no pink. So
I remember there was a time I was with my dad down in Branson, and we went to Longhorn. And this was around that 2021, 2022 range. And we went to Longhorn to get a bite, being it was fairly late. And I told them, or I asked, I said, hey, how do you guys measure your steaks? Like, how do you know it's going to be a medium? And they're like, oh, well, the cooks use an instant read. I said, okay. I said, I want my steak pulled at 129 degrees. And I want it out here. It was money.
On the money, huh?
It was money.
Well, they stick it underneath that heat lamp too, and it brings it even up, faster. You got the internal going and then the external on top of it. So, yeah.
And that's probably why Texas Roadhouse.
They got some hot heat lamps up there.
They're running their heat lamps, and if your server's not sitting right there, they're pushing a lot of food out every turn.
Yep.
That makes it tough.
Saltgrass?
I've ate there once or twice. It's a little bit out of our way to where we would go.
Right.
But it was a good meal.
Do you ever remember Doc's? The garlic salad?
See, I haven't had it. I didn't have it. I've heard so much about it.
My mom took me there all the time. Like, I had birthdays there.
Really?
Yes. I remember that restaurant like the back of my hand.
It was on North Broadway, right?
Yep. North Broadway. Remember walking in, and there was a shotgun, a long rifle shotgun that was up on some horseshoes. And I'd always fuck with that thing. Every time that I walked in that restaurant, my mom, it drove her nuts. Because she's like, stop messing with it. I'm up there like pulling the trigger and everything. And I'm like, but I want to shoot it. And she's like, it doesn't work. It's just for decoration. So there'd be a bench right there that you'd be able to sit on. And then you'd walk upstairs to the host station. So at the host station right there was, if I remember correctly, it was on the right. And then there was the counter of where you would check out to the left, back just a little bit further. Then you would walk in. And I remember as a kid, from the first time I can remember of going there up until maybe 14 years old, I always remembered it being so dark in there. Like, so dark.
Steakhouse dark.
Darker.
Okay.
Like, we're talking like, how do y'all see to eat? Like, it's that dark. Okay. Super dim lights. But then I remember it kind of being like a little bit brighter as I got older. In there, but my mom always getting a double garlic salad, and I loved the little Ritz crackers, so I would eat those with the garlic salad. And growing up, I kind of thought that the garlic salad, just because of the paprika and stuff that was on it and the cayenne, that it was a little bit spicy. But then whenever I, got older and got more, taste buds, I was like, man, I love it. Somebody bought the recipe for that garlic salad online for a ridiculous amount of money. It's floating out there. Doc's like Steakhouse released their recipe for that salad.
We need to find this and put it together for our group.
But I would, to have a steak growing up in the family that I grew up in was like, it was a very special occurrence. But I remember them. They were, thick, juicy strips, New York or KC strips, I think they were. But just a big old potato, green beans in the little cafeteria type bowls, the little plastic beige colored bowls. Those would come out with your steak on that silver tray that they'd be on that skillet type like that, and your garlic salad.
let's just
It
find some people to buy that building and get back into it.
Man, Docs was God, it was busy all the time, but I don't even remember why it went out.
I don't know.
Something happened, but when it comes to steak in this town, like quality with flavor, you're either having to make it yourself or go to somebody that's going to do it for a purpose. They're just putting out too much volume to be able to take care of it.
And that's for Wichita being where we're at. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be a
steakhouse.
Yes. Not super high end.
Yep.
That
nobody wants to go to.
Right. Well, it's not in my budget to go. Not with kids. We can make it happen, but we have to plan for it.
Yeah.
But a local restaurant that can produce that home good food.
Yeah.
A mixture of Stroud's and a steakhouse.
Yeah. I love Stroud's.
I do too.
God, I recall what the steak looked like.
Really?
It was that impressionable to me. The grill lines were not grill lines. They were a press.
Okay.
They had to have been a press just because they were perfect every time. So I think they were cooking it on the grill or cooking it on a flat top and then
searing
it real quick. So like a reverse sear almost. But those grill lines were perfect because they weren't black. They were brown. Like right at the peak of getting ready to turn to a black. So you could look at the steak and go, it's cooked with brown sear marks.
And not black.
And not blackened.
So whatever they were using wasn't fiery hot to do it.
So I think they were pressing that sear mark on there, but it was cooked perfect every single time.
So what about an old hickory, a CTO that is revolving rotisserie? You reverse sear your steaks, so you're smoking them in a rotisserie, and then you finish them on.
You got time to go to lunch? I'm not joking.
I know.
Like, man.
And then you sear them off right out of the gate. And depending on the doneness of the order, you're running to 130, 135, 140.
I like that movie Hell or High Water, and the waitress in there.
I've never seen it.
Oh man, she's like, "You want your steak medium rare?" Yeah. Yes. I want my No, you want it medium rare. They don't do anything else.
That's all that comes.
Well,
medium
when
rare.
she came out, she goes, "What don't you want?" And he's like, "What? What don't you want?" Well, do you have trout? And she's like, you got to see the movie, but she goes, "You either don't want the corn on the cob or you don't want the green beans. It's a T-bone steak with those sides, baked potato, and a sweet tea, and that's what you get." And she's like, "I've been here for 40 years. Ain't nobody ordered no damn trout." It's T-bone steaks. There's a little place in Texas. And basically the order was, what don't you want?
Okay.
What part of it don't you want? But you're getting a T-bone steak.
This is what we do.
So you're getting it rare, medium rare, maybe medium. We might question you. But that's it. We will refuse to go above that. Here's the standard. We know what we like to do.
That's right.
But we don't need to. I feel like the cook or the person that's back there on that line, now he has something else to think about.
Right.
You know, if there was a system in place where you know it's either 30 seconds, 1 minute, or a minute and a half.
There's a process. There's a system
And
in
if
place.
you found, here's my steaks that are doing this, da 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 da, I'm able to push out more, but higher quality meats, better. And then I ain't got to bitch about or listen to somebody bitch about their steaks overcooked.
Yeah.
Here you are. This is your 3 options. This is all you get.
Yeah. We made, we were invited to Mulligan's Country Club in Kansas City, first weekend of March. It is a vintage golf store, resale store. Max is the owner and had this passion to build a brand, an apparel brand tied in with vintage golf, Mulligan's Country Club. And we got to know each other a couple years ago. And he said, hey, this is what I want to do. I want you to come up and cook. And that's kind of one of the focuses of JT Tailgates is I don't have a set menu, but I have the capability to do anything.
Cater to the people that are
cater to what you want. Last night I got a message. Hey, we want to have a 50th wedding anniversary for our parents. We want a beef. We want beef protein and some vegetables. Great. Here's what I can get. Here's what we have access to. We cater to the party. With Mulligan's, he wanted to have smash burgers. So we did a Mulligan. Have you ever had a Mulligan burger? Cheeseburger with bacon, jalapeno pepper jelly, and peanut butter.
Definitely not.
Phenomenal. I'll say it for the people in the back.
Phenomenal. Okay. All right. That's next on the list to try.
And built the system to know, hey, here's the system being my griddle that we were cooking on. I had Mulligan burgers on the top row. I had regular cheeseburgers on the bottom row, and smash burger 4 to 5 ounce ball of meat that we were using. And you set them in your rows, and I knew where, without using a thermometer, where every temperature was going to be based on how long and how hot the grill was cooking at. And we rolled, I think we sold 75 burgers for this grand opening.
Nice.
And everybody had a great time. Burgers came out great because of the system that's in place. When a restaurant doesn't have their system in place, or their system has a chink in it, that's when food gets sent back.
I'm for real. You got time?
I got an 11:30 I got to get to.
Oh, all right. Well, Tyler, thank you, man.
Man, Devin, thank you for having me.
I've got to get you on here again, but how do we let everybody know?
All right. So for March Madness next weekend,
What's your Instagram?
JT Tailgates on both Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. You have a number or anything anybody can call? I can put that up there as well.
Social media is going to be the best way.
Okay.
Hyper responsive and want to take care of people. And that's our biggest focus is taking care of people and knowing the industry, knowing the side of service is people continue to do business with people that they trust.
Yep.
And time again, if you're not responsive,
we say it all the time on here: know, like, and trust.
It's the foundations of the way that I've been doing business my whole life. Whether it's sports, sales in collegiate professional athletics, to the banking industry, property management, JT Tailgates. Take care of people.
Yeah.
Always do what you're going. Say what you're going to do, and then follow through with it.
What if somebody might be curious? What's the capacity of what you can cater up to? I mean, this right here is getting ready to probably be the
in 2022 for the KU Arkansas bowl game in Memphis. We serve 750 people, burgers, brats, dogs.
Wow.
So,
how many are you anticipating for March Madness here?
I think we will probably see close to 10,000 people a day, 10 to 15,000. There's so much going on around the arena. It's hard to say. But when you see a 53-foot chrome cattle trailer,
yeah, you're going to tend to want to go over there and see what it's all about.
Absolutely. And if the line's moving fast and the food's great. Two out of my four brothers are chefs in Colorado.
So it kind of runs in the family.
It does. One of them gets here Sunday. One of them gets here Wednesday at noon. But we have a whole team in place, and we're looking forward to one, serving people in March Madness. Basketball fans, whether you're purple, crimson, and blue, shocker yellow. Houston should be here. Texas A&M may be here.
Nice.
Ole Miss may be here. I mean, you don't know until Sunday afternoon. But we're looking forward to serving people and blessing the nonprofits that are partnering with us on this. And nothing is too small. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yes, sir.
So anything is possible for us. And let's go.
Thank you for coming on, and we'll get you back on here after it's all over and do a recap.
Maybe we could cook some ribeyes outside.
All right. Now we're talking.